Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. It's Wednesday evening and today we had a statement or speech or whatever you want to call it from our Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. And the biggest thing about his speech was the 5 promises that he was making. Let me see, I wrote them down. He's going to halve inflation this year. He's going to grow the economy. The national debt is going to fall. NHS waiting lists will fall. And there will be new laws to stop the small boats. So, as it was, I had it on in the background when we were at work and we didn't have any calls coming in. So Mandy and I had that on at that time. And we heard the 5 promises. And then we didn't hear an awful lot else. So, in the interests of being sensible, I did actually go back and watch it again tonight. I hope you're impressed. The good news is, or you would think that the good news is there, when he talked about strikes, and he said they hugely value the public sector and they want to be responsible and fair and will update in the coming days. So nothing actually said, just that we can expect an update in the coming days. Funnily enough, he said we need to address the issues, not just talk. And then he went on to talked about optimism, hope and pride. Change requires sacrifice and hard work. Wonder who he's expecting to do that hard work. We should refuse limits on our aspirations and reverse the creeping acceptance of a narrative of decline. I'm sorry, what? Reverse the creeping acceptance of a narrative of decline. Well, I'm sorry, if you're someone on the NHS waiting lists, or you're someone that's in renting a property that's covered in mould, or if you're someone who's trying to get a job that's actually going to pay your expenses, but they're all minimum wage, how is that a creeping acceptance of a narrative of decline? It's not a narrative of decline, it's declining. Not give up when things get tough. Who's given up? We're not giving up, we just can't afford stuff. And the more we innovate, the more we grow. What's that supposed to be about? I mean, really, this whole thing about, oh yes, the last time that we grew and it was innovation and this is what we do. Yeah. And as soon as we can, we'll reduce taxes. That's for us lower paid people, as soon as they can, they will reduce taxes. No time scale, no nothing, no definitive answers to anything. Oh, apart from, let me see, they'll help people back to work, including through the welfare system. Yeah, which, don't get me wrong, I get, but I think there could be an awful lot of people on that welfare system. I mean, how many times have we heard about the people who have been so ill and yet the person's still on their deathbed and still getting told they can work? I am Daniel, and I can never remember the second name. The Ken Loach film. Watch it and see. The guy who's just had the heart attack and his doctor told him he shouldn't work, but because the person in the disability scheme thing call centre has a specific script, and she never asked about his heart, so therefore he's fit to work. But his doctor says he's not fit to work, so therefore he can't have benefits because he should be working. But therefore he can't work because his doctor says it's dangerous for his heart. That's where we are. But this helps you back to work, including through the welfare system. I think a lot of sanctions could be involved there. This spring there will be an extra 20,000 police. By spring. Good luck with that. They've already lost, I think, about 10% of the new recruits, and they're nowhere near 20,000 new police. And plus the fact, that doesn't even count with the fact of the however many police that they cut in the first place. So this is not extra police, this is them just getting back up to what they were before they were completely decimated. Reoffending addiction and antisocial behaviour should be quickly and visibly punished. Good luck with that. Good luck with the police catching them. Good luck with the justice system putting anything through anytime soon. quickly does not happen in the justice system as far as I can see. Improve attainment in primary schools and have some form of maths up to 18. Good. That would be great if you had the teachers. We are recruiting, I love this. This is such a play on words. Really. We are recruiting record numbers of doctors and nurses. Yes, they are. They're recruiting. They've put the adverts out. Nobody wants the jobs. Nobody wants that sort of responsibility for that sort of money. No one wants to be going on shift and you're 3 short and you're doing a 12-hour, 14-hour, suddenly 20-hour shift to try and help people. You know, nobody wants that to be treated with so little respect, especially for a job when you're saving lives. Let's start respecting the health service and let's start paying them what they're due and what they deserve is the word I was looking for. Now, there was a little snippet, I just love this. It just to me says the whole thing. People will have to work hard. Did we not guess that? Us people will have to work hard. But good, well-paying jobs are about more than financial security. Really? Good, well-paying jobs are about more than financial security. Any job is about financial security. And if you want to get a good, well-paying job, now don't get me wrong, I am quite happy at the thought of, if you start, I started as an office junior, the wages were rubbish. But I got a grounding, then I applied for the next job, which would be as an assistant admin. And then I went through and went up. I have got no problem with people working, but what I do have a problem with is if I went looking for a job just now as an administrator with 30 odd years experience, they're still wanting to give me a competitive salary, which is pennies above minimum wage. There's so many places still doing that. And it just doesn't work like that. But to say that a good, well-paying job is about more than financial security, no. The first thing about any job is financial security. Can you pay your bills? There is no point in me going, I would really love to do, I always thought I wanted to be a librarian. Librarians very seldom get full-time work just now, so it's only part-time. I would love that job, in books all day. What's not to like? I love books. It's not going to pay my bills. So that's no use to me because most of them are part-time. So yeah, that's not going to happen. Any job is about financial security first. If it is not going to give you financial security, then you cannot do the job because you cannot afford to live. You cannot afford to keep a roof over your head and you cannot afford to feed yourself or heat your house, etc., etc. So how does that work? It's a load of utter twaddle. So, again, back to the 5 promises. We will have inflation this year. Well, considering inflation's at 10%, and it's supposed to be at 2%, and if I remember rightly from all the stuff that came out yesterday, there was a whole lot of analysts talking about the rate of inflation and everything, and everyone expects it to come down to about 5% in the next year. So, that's nothing the government's doing. That's just what's happening in the world. We will grow the economy. I've got no idea how that works. To be honest, I've got no idea how that works. That would be great, but I wouldn't hold my breath because it hasn't been grown in a long time. National debt to be falling. Well, dear God, the amount of debt we're in, could it be worse? But maybe if they tax the higher brackets a bit higher, that might help. Instead of saying, oh, we're going to lower taxes for ordinary working people as soon as we can. Maybe actually up the taxes on the billionaires. That would be very useful, I think. NHS waiting lists will fall. Here's hoping that your discussions with the unions for the medical staff are productive then, because at the moment you cannot get staff in the NHS because your terms and conditions and your wages are rubbish. So at the moment you're struggling to keep the staff you've got. So how you're going to get waiting lists to fall if you don't actually do something about it, I do not know. However, the waiting lists are really, really bad. They're getting very, very dangerous. So I do hope that they do manage to get some waiting lists to fall. And new laws to stop the small boats. That's just, every law that they make, it goes against the lawyers and stuffs and stuffs and stuffs. I mean, that's just pie in the sky. So there you go. That was our illustrious leader's speech of today. And I have to say, as I say, Mandy and I were listening to it, and we got to just the part of his 5 promises, and then he started talking or waffling. There was a whole lot of words, very little being said. And he went from, education to crime to NHS to the family to all that. And he said very, very little of any consequence to any of us struggling here just now. Basically what he's done is he's gone, look, I'm the Prime Minister and this is what I'm promising you. And yeah, waiting lists will fall. How? How are you going to do that? Half inflation. That was going down anyway. The other one, NHS waiting lists will fall. National debt to be falling. As I say, that's so high it wouldn't be hard for it to be falling. I don't know what that was about. To be honest, I have no clue what that was about, apart from a puff piece to try and make himself look better, because, people have been saying he's been missing in action, so he has to show that he's there and he's a man of the people, and he said, it's a load of rubbish. I mean, seriously. Start with the basics. And the basics are, start looking after your people. Stop letting them get taken advantage of by multi-million-pound corporations. Maybe start paying the wages before you start paying the shareholders and such things like that. Was that just a bit too sensible? I don't know. And apologies, I forgot to put the microphone on, so this is probably not very loud. But, what a load of rubbish. It's just a complete load of rubbish, this whole speech. It's done nothing, it's given us nothing. There is no definitive answers in there for anybody. It's just, this is what we're going to do. Everyone has to work hard. We need to keep working hard. There's going to be sacrifices, but it'll all be all right in the end, because we're going to make Britain great again. How many times have we heard that? And what's happened? And even when he was looking back and saying, well, in previous, I know we've been in the government, the closest he got to anything decent that they did was promoting again the COVID vaccine stuff. We did so well for COVID. It wasn't the vaccine stuff, sorry. It was the looking after people's jobs and, the furlough scheme. That's the last time they did anything kind of half reasonable. There was nothing mentioned about anything prior to that, because basically it all is rubbish. So yeah, not impressed with the Prime Minister's statement, I have to say. Seemingly Keir Starmer is making one tomorrow, so I will have a look at that and see what's happening. But I'm not holding my breath. I'm prepping. I will continue to sort out my pantry. I am freezing those cabbages. I am slicing those carrots. I'm going to freeze them as well. I'm dehydrating stuff. I'm going to grow things very soon. I'm not going to hold my breath. And don't get me wrong, I know some people say, well, the government shouldn't have to look after you. No, they shouldn't, but the government should at least have some rules where you're not expected to live in accommodation that is run with mould and damp. The government should at least have some standards that they enforce. And at the moment, the government's doing nothing. And don't get me wrong, someone said, what about the Scotland government? Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's a bit better. Still no great. Nor's the Welsh one. And Nor's the Irish one. I don't even think it's sitting just now. So, yeah, no. At the moment, I feel as if normal, everyday working people are collateral damage. And that's no impressing me at all. So there you go. That's my wee rant for tonight. We're not impressed. We've seen his speech. We're not impressed. Go away. So there you go. I will go now, and I will catch you later.